Hi guys, today we're taking a look at the latest product from Govee. This is the Glide Hexa Light Panels. Details are in the description below, including purchasing links. So these panels have Govee's RGBIC technology built in, which allows you a lot of flexibility in terms of selecting colors and changing different elements of these panels. It's compatible with Google and Amazon voice control products. So we'll be setting them up, testing them out, seeing what's possible with it. And we'll also do a comparison to Nanoleaf, which is its closest competitor, to see how it compares to their light panels. So let's begin by unboxing it and seeing what you get in the packaging. In the packaging, you get a support card, user manual, and some details on connecting the panels up. You get a plastic tool, 2 replacement sticky pads, and a spirit level. You also get 9 connector strips, and the length of the cable on here is 10 centimeters. One end on each side has a connection point, the other side is blank, and it's flexible as well. The power adapter has a DC connection point. Output on this is 24 volts, 1.5 amps. And the length of the cable is 173 centimeters. You get a control box. One end of the cable here is 13 centimeters, DC connector on there. The other side of the cable is 1 meter in length, and it has a connector for the first panel it will connect to. Single button to control this, and a 3M sticky pad on the back. You get 10 hexagon panels. Each side is 9 centimeters in length. From there to there is 15.5. Thickness is 1.7 centimeters. All a matte white finish on there. On the back you can see their branding. There's a cover to cover all the connections on there. If I pull that off, that reveals that. And on here you've got a sticky pad. If I put this back on again, it doesn't spin around, it just locks into position. General build quality feels good, nice strong plastic. Let's make a start at setting this up. So coming over to my Android phone, going to the Play Store. The app you're after is Govee Home. I've already got it installed, so if I open it up, this is what you're initially presented with. So to get any devices added, you want to turn on your Bluetooth, so I've already got it on, and then clicking on the plus, going to indoor lighting, scrolling down to the bottom, you can see Govee Hexa Light Panels. Selecting that picks up the device straight away, so I've got power going to the controller at the moment. Selecting it, it's now saying press the button here a couple of times to pair it. There you go. And now what it's doing is presenting you with an installation video, so which is quite good how they've done this. So straight away you've got instructions coming up. So I've already seen this, so let me click next, and it's now informing to connect the first connection up to the arrow point there. So it's this one here. That's connected next to that. And now we need to design a layout. So if I clear what's there, confirm to that, and we can start from scratch. Now you can't just go ahead and connect all the light panels up. You've got to design it first, and then it will give you details on how to connect it up. So let me quickly do a basic design next to that. And now it's presenting an installation tutorial. I've already watched this, so I'll click next to this. And now it's giving details of all the connection points. So you can see here at the bottom, it's got the power, then it's got 2, 3 over there, and it's just saying the direction you're supposed to connect this. Each end on the connector is different. One has a notch in there, the other one doesn't. The notch end is the point for the power. So if we look at the first panel, as we've got the power going in, the other end would have this side connected, and the direction you put this in is important as well. The contact part has to go towards there, so this way round. And the opposite end would be connected where the arrow is here. And again, the contact bit has to be facing downwards. You can see the panels turned on. Let me get all the other panels connected up now. All the panels are connected as shown in the diagram. We can just click next panel, next, 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 as I've already connected them all up. And this is just a way of confirming it's done as expected. And there we have it. Make sure the light panel is installed and connected to power. Confirm to that. Now it's the calibration process. We'll click start to that. So it's just checking that each panel is in the correct location. So next panel, there you go, just keep going. As long as it lights up correctly as shown, you know you're good to go. All the light panels are correct. Finish calibration. Are the light panels correctly calibrated? And they are, so done to that. We can give the device a name. We'll leave as a default for now, and done to that. Next we can add it onto our Wi-Fi network, so done to this. And there we have it, successfully installed. Let me show you around the different options you have in here. So looking at settings in the corner, you can rename the device, you can change the Wi-Fi settings. It can be set up on the Amazon and Google voice control products. Layout and calibration, if you wanted to change things around, that's where you'd go in, and standard other options to expect here. Back back from here. Then you've got a power button, easy way of turning it on and off. You can see the panel layout, and each panel has a brightness level. So even brightness levels and colors on each of the individual panels can be adjusted. You've got a flip option here, so you can see more in there. Back again from there, select all, and then you can individually deselect them, or if I deselect them, then I can individually select. Now you've got Effects Lab, clicking on there. This provides a reference point for different colors. You can see here, red, rose red, pink. Back from here, and then timer. You can set timers on here. Back from there, brightness levels. So at the moment you can see I've got it on 10%, but brightness levels are very good on here. You can see I'll take it to the maximum. Then we have mode, and if we flip over to music, and there's two options with this. You've got a microphone built into the control box. Use a microphone on your phone if you wanted to. So if I click over here, I've now flipped over to the one on the phone, and looking on here, it's picking up my voice. And you've got three mode: party, then you've got dynamic, and then we've got calm and auto color. So as it's going along, it will automatically change color, or it will just stay at a static color. Back to the microphone on the control box. Same thing again, sensitivity, but different options on here. It's on rhythm at the moment. And then you've got energetic, test 1, 2, 3, test 1, 2, 3, hopping, test 1, 2, 3, test 1, 2, 3, and stacking. And direction options as well, hole or edge. If I click on edge just to show, and back to rhythm. Colors can be selected as well, looking below that. It's a nice functionality here. Back up again, let's click on color. This is where you can select an individual color. So I like this functionality because if I select everything, I can change the brightness levels on each of the panels. If I deselect it, I can pick a single panel and take the brightness up on that, so you can see that straight away. Pick this one, I'll take it down. Both of them have gone down now. Selecting them all, I can take them all up. So this is the maximum with the entire thing at 10%. So if I now took it onto maximum, selected one, and then taken that brightness down, you can see it's more apparent with that. Let's scroll up, take it back down to 10% here. Color selection as well. So if I pick a couple of them, change to red, view to green, and then you've got the blue. So I like the interface on this. Very easy to customize, as you've seen, and I love the fact you can change brightness levels on individual panels, which is really good. You've got a standard color spectrum here, then you've got warm white, cold white, flip between that. You can turn off colors as well. So if I picked two segments there you go, turn them off. Let's get light back on there, down again. You've got a selection of colors. Moving on to scene. These are default predefined scenes, and if I select a couple of them just to show you what's possible, you can see ocean, forest, sunset glow, rainbow, aurora, star, and you got fire, and there's loads of these. If I go across, you can see for yourself. DIY, you can customize this to have your own personalized effects on here. And that's all the options you have on here. And you saw for yourself, not complicated to set up, and really impressive functionality from here. Very customizable and very intuitive interface on here, which is something I've always loved with the Govee products. Now, a few things worth mentioning. So the cover on the back here isn't movable. So once you place it on the wall, you're not going to be able to spin it around. There's no auto calibration option, which is a bit disappointing. It would have been nice if it had that. So for example, I've disconnected from all the other panels. So I've just got a single panel here, and the app doesn't pick up the fact that that's happened. So what I'd have to do is go into settings, layout and calibration, redesign this to how I want it, which is a bit of a shame. I would have thought it would be nice if it just automatically picked up which connector it's connected to and worked out the layout itself. I love the flexible connectors on this. Gives you a lot of possibilities when you're installing this. For example, you can easily place it in a corner, and the fact you don't have to buy any sort of separate connectors on this, which is really good. So for instance, if you look here in the corner, you can see it's easy to place. Let's see how Govee's panel compares with Nanoleaf's ones I've got over here. So these are the Nanoleaf shapes. There's 3 different shapes you can get with this, and the Aurora panel here. So with the shapes, you've got a hexagon, and let's see how it compares in size. Placing it directly over, you can see Govee's smaller, Govee's is thicker and has a bigger gap underneath. Obviously that gap's there because of the flexible connector on Govee's. Side by side, you can see Govee's panel is thicker and it sticks up higher than Nanoleaf's. Underneath you can see Govee only has the connection points in the inner circle here, where Nanoleaf has it right on the edges. Nanoleaf has an auto calibration where you can just connect things up, move things around, and it'll just automatically calibrate. Whereas with Govee, you can't do that. You've got to calibrate via the app to see the correct representation in the app. Comparing to the Shapes triangle, you see sidewise slightly larger, and then comparing with the Shapes small triangle, easily fits in there. Looking at the Aurora Nanoleaf panel, size-wise, hopefully that will give you a good comparison. And again, Govee is thicker on there. You can see more of a step, whereas the Aurora panel literally is flat against the surface. Side by side, you can see Govee's panel is slightly thicker and it will stick out more. And with these Nanoleaf panels, the connection points are at the edge, and auto calibration is possible with these too, like with all other Nanoleaf products. I've connected up all three systems with additional panels, and let me briefly tell you the differences between the systems. So with the Nanoleaf Aurora over here, for music sync, you need to get this rhythm attachment connected up. So that can be moved around and put onto different areas. You just need one of those. The control unit for this is just over here. You've got a power option and you can cycle between the different scenes with this. So these are the Nanoleaf Shapes. The panels are touch sensitive, and you've got gesture control as well on here, and a single control panel at the side. This allows you to change between music sync and the different sort of scenes you have, changing brightness levels and powering on and off. Govee's device isn't touch control, and its control box has a small hole over here for music sync, and it just has power on and off controls. I've turned on all three devices, and immediately you can see Govee is much brighter than Nanoleaf with this. Nanoleaf's panels come in closer in terms of light between the separate panels, you can see here. Aurora is slightly different. You can see on the corners, there's a slight blanked out area. So if you did have all of them going around, you'd have a hexagon area just in this location, which isn't lit up. With Govee, you can see there's a thicker border going all the way around. And just to highlight, all of the devices are at 100% brightness. Flipping over to the color blue, you can see the different levels on all of them. Very similar, I'd say, with the blue. Moving on to red, again, you can see Govee's device is slightly brighter, but levels are very similar at this color. I've set up transitions to go for Govee and both the Nanoleaf products. Now you can see for Nanoleaf, color changes are very subtle on there. It just casually just transitions across to the next color. Whereas with Govee's device, you see a slight wipe across with that. In terms of initial setup, with Nanoleaf, I've set up a number of these devices previously, and each time I have to say, occasionally you do come across some oddities where it doesn't add to your Wi-Fi network easily. So with these, I've found if you've got 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz, you're always going to run into problems. So I've had it a number of times. So each time I always disable 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, and then it just adds in. Whereas with Govee, I've used a number of their products and they've always added in very quickly, no real issues there. The app's very stable connectivity wise, where Nanoleaf, I do find occasionally it does become a little bit unstable and it doesn't respond quick enough. So performance wise, generally I've found Govee to be better, but that's only my own personal experience of using both these apps. Govee's product only comes in a single shape, so hexagon in this instance. Whereas Nanoleaf, you've got a number of different products and some different shapes to go in there. The two different systems don't interconnect. I found Nanoleaf to be the easiest one to set up and connect. So just coming along, pushing the panels on, simple as that, you're done. And with the Aurora, you can just push into place and it's connected. Where I did find the Govee, strangely enough, a little bit fiddly, only because it's got the connector further in on the device. So as a comparison between the two, Govee seems to have brighter levels on there and more of an intuitive app to use, probably more stable than Nanoleaf's. Nanoleaf is more of a mature product, it's been around for a while. Transition effects on this is very smooth, and I like the functionality you get on the control panel, which is far superior than what you get on Govee. And Nanoleaf has the touch functionality and gesture control on there too, which is nice. Nevertheless, both products are very good. It really depends on your preference and what your budget is then. So in summary, really impressed with these Govee Motif Hexa light panels. Very simple to set up and configure, as you've seen. Great functionality from the Govee app. Very intuitive interface with lots of customization available and lots of different scenes. You've got music sync on here and even the ability to use some of their default scenes and design your own. Works with the Amazon and Google side of things for voice control. Negatives wise, it would have been nice if you didn't have to go through the calibration option where you just plug in the panels and it just works by default. I actually quite like being able to just mess around with it like that rather than designing it on the app. Sometimes when you do things on the fly, it just works out. So what that means, if you wanted to make adjustments to it or change a panel around, you'd have to go back into the calibration option and make the changes there, and then it will come across. Would have been nice if the connector strips worked either way. Sometimes you just forget the way you're connecting it and you do it the wrong way around, which can be a bit annoying after a while. I like the flexibility of the panels where they don't have to be placed side by side directly. They can be moved onto a corner. With Nanoleaf, you have to buy a separate connector to enable you to do this, but this gives you the option straight away if you wanted it side by side or if you wanted to place it on a corner of a room. So there you have it, a great alternative to Nanoleaf, and I hope it's helped anyone thinking of purchasing these. Details are in the description below, including purchasing links. So if you're new to the channel, do consider subscribing and hitting that bell icon to be notified of my next release. Smash that like button as it really helps me out. Thanks for viewing and see you in the next one.